Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year! Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1, the Manic Monday edition of The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, from California. Once again, my name is Craig DeLuz, but as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to The Rundown, where we promise to bring you 2A news and conservative views. I'm your co-host today, Mike Peworsi, and I'm experiencing technical difficulties. Hopefully you got me. I'll be here. I'll be here to hold your hand while Craig does the talking. I'm going to do the nodding.
Yeah, see, that's what happens. See, when you live in America, you know, they're trying to withhold. That's really what it is that they're trying to withhold his ability to speak to the people. So they're trying the Weber nets and the internet gods are trying to take him down.
Absolutely right.
Excellent.
Absolutely
So how did you bring in the new year, my friend?
Oh, it's pretty cool, actually. It's so much cool. I don't know if you're gonna be able to handle it, Craig. I took the airplane up. We went up about 11:15, and we just went up to about 2,000 feet and just flew circles around the city and watched fireworks from above.
Wow. That sounds phenomenal. That sounds like a whole lot of fun was had.
Yeah, the only problem was we couldn't do any drink until we got back down. At least the flying guy, the pilot guy. Yeah.
The pilot, at least the pilot guy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you were the designated driver or flyer.
Yeah. But which is fine, except for the first 4 hours leading.
Except for the first 4 hours where we lose Mikey to the internet gods. Oh, wait, Mikey's back. Hey, Mikey,
This is going to happen a couple more times. I'm trying to get it fixed while we're here live.
Excellent. No worries, sir. Look, this is a family show, so we keep it all in the family, and we all know the family ain't perfect, right?
Right.
At least family doesn't all have the same internet connectivity. How about that?
Yeah, and that's what's going on here today. It's the family internet that's down.
Exactly. So sometimes it just be like that. But hey, it's a new year. It's 2022. I still remember how excited we were going into 2021. And then 2021 till 2020, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Yep.
Beer.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly
it was,
right.
Dude, 2021 was, well, here's the thing. I can say for me, 2021 for me was a pretty good year personally. I do know that a lot of people dealt with a lot of things, whether it was economic, whether it was business-wise, or in some cases health-wise, where 2021 was a challenge. And, I pray for them. I lift them up. But like I said, for me personally, 2021 was all right. And I'm looking forward to an even better 2022. Since it's an election year and, polls are looking pretty good.
We shall see how it goes. Definitely some crap that's going on this year and some nonsense last year. Let's get back to the old generation way of doing things, right? Let's bring back the old gen and make that happen.
Yes, sir, Bob. So I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and jump into, let's go ahead and jump into some stories, right? So you guys know that, obviously, just like with 2020, COVID-19 was kind of the biggest story of 2021. And in many cases, one of the things that's been big in conservative circles that we've learned is not so much that we learned, because we've all been trying to get all of the information. Those of us who are on the right, we've been trying to get all of the information and figure out what's going on with COVID and have been open to actually analyzing the science. But we also know that the left, in particular the left-string media, has gone out of their way to make sure that they don't provide adequate information on anything, whether it was various therapeutics that are available and effective for COVID-19, whether it was things like natural immunity. We all know that the left has absolutely nothing to say about natural immunity. Whatever it was, there were just numerous ways in which the left just decided that they were not going to speak the truth when it came to COVID. Well, one of the things that we found out also that they weren't speaking the truth about had to do with hospitalizations. And we're finding now with Omicron that it's increasing. And here's the thing. We all know that when it comes to those who pass away from COVID or those who are hospitalized with COVID, there is a difference between being hospitalized with COVID and hospitalized of COVID. And now what they're finding is, in many cases with the Omicron surge, is that there are many, many reasons why people are winding up in the hospital that have absolutely nothing to do with COVID-19. And even here's the thing, even Dr. Anthony Fauci admitted it. He was doing an interview on MSNBC, and he referred to it. He was talking about a specific example of a child who was there. He said the real reason might have been with a broken leg or an appendicitis or something like that. So even Dr. Fauci is now admitting, when it comes to Omicron at least, that this sort of thing is happening. But Mike, we knew from the very beginning that there were many people. And I think like here in California, one of the counties, Alameda County, admitted that as many as 57% of the COVID cases that were being reported, once again, or hospitalizations, were people who were there, or deaths were there with COVID, not necessarily of COVID.
Yeah, and it's amazing that Fauci said this. I'm sure he'll retract it tomorrow and say that he misunderstood himself, or something along those lines. But these numbers we've known this, Craig. Like, you're in the hospital with COVID. Well, yeah, I mean, I was in the hospital and then COVID came to visit while I was here. I'm with COVID technically, but not for real. They're saying this Omicron variant right now, what is it, of random people being tested, 30% had no symptoms, no idea they were even exposed, and they're turning up positive for it. Now, a lot of that also the faultiness of the kits they're using. They were calibrated for the original and then the Delta variant, not the Omicron variant. So there's just all sorts of nonsense going on with this, and none of it happens to be close to the truth anymore.
Well, no, you are 100% correct. And it's, once again, it's like, how are we supposed to trust? How are we supposed to trust the left? I mean, how are we supposed to trust the media? I don't know that I'll ever trust the left, but how are we supposed to trust the media when we can't count on them to provide us with accurate information? And here's the thing. They're relying on the left because they're like, well, the left are our friends. They wouldn't provide us bad information. The left is always right.
Right.
But hopefully what they're starting to see is, and you would think they would start to see this, because after you find out they get story after story after story wrong, you would think they would correct themselves. Like, for example, we're still not on YouTube because one, I think was because, Mikey decided to say that what did he say?
COVID is fake.
Flovid was Kate.
That's right.
Flovid was Kate.
I said COVID with a K, though. I said COVID with K. Yeah.
COVID with a K. Yeah, right. But anyway, but that's why we're not on YouTube right now. Now, the time before that, it was because we had mentioned the fact that there were studies, and yes, there were studies. There have been at least a dozen studies that show that hydroxychloroquine actually is effective in treating COVID-19, the symptoms of COVID-19, if given early on in the process, in the infection. Guess what? We got banned from there for that because we said something like that. And don't mention ivermectin, right? But we all know that in the end, they're going to wind up being wrong on that.
Yeah, absolutely right. And these are just, proving out, but we'll never get, you'll never get mainstream media. You'll never get social media. You'll never get everybody else to come on board with that because, again, if we say it long enough and hard enough, people will believe it's true and we'll be able to tell them it's true. And then when it actually proves to be false, we're still going to say it's true. And that's what's going on.
Well, exactly. And then, Mikey, and then you've got the other situation where you've got, and this is our leading us, by the way, to our next story, where CNN has finally admitted that, that obesity has something to do with the mortality rate from COVID-19. Now, a lot of people may not realize this because, once again, if you watch, unless you watch conservative news, unless you watch non-left-wing mainstream media, people don't realize that if you are morbidly obese, the likelihood of you winding up on a ventilator, the likelihood of you winding up having to be hospitalized, and the likelihood of you dying increases by 75%. 75% if you are morbidly obese. And yet nobody from CNN has talked anything about it. Well, they finally decided to put out a tweet about it. Needless to say, a lot of people are now criticizing them because they're now all of a sudden saying this, and people are asking them, Where have you been? Why haven't you been talking about this? Why hasn't this been on the forefront of what you've been talking about? Because it's one thing that you can actually do to help address and prevent increase your likelihood of surviving from COVID-19. And here's the tweet right here. It says, people who are overweight or obese are at much higher risk of much more severe disease and even death from COVID-19. And one study suggests that losing weight can reduce that risk. Now, they finally sent that tweet on January 3rd, 2022. Now, Mikey, how long, Mike, have we known this? How many times have you and I talked about this on this program since we started doing this program? Okay, Mikey appears to be frozen. Mikey appears to be frozen, so we're gonna have to get away from Mikey. But we've talked about it. Oh my God, it has to be dozens of times. We've talked about the importance of the things that you can do in order to help reduce the severity of COVID-19 should you get it. We've talked about things like increasing the amount of vitamin D that you get. We've talked about exercise and improving your health. We've talked about making sure that you're eating right and exercising. I mean, all of these are all things that we have talked about are an important part of addressing COVID-19. Important part of addressing COVID-19, and yet and still, well, let's just say now all of a sudden CNN realizes that this is a way in which you can address COVID-19 and a way in which you can potentially get healed or recover from COVID-19. And it looks like we've got Mikey back. Mikey, we're talking about COVID, and we're talking about COVID-19, CNN, and the links to obesity, and the fact that they just sent out a tweet on January 3rd. Oh, wait, today they just sent out a tweet, finally saying, yeah, if obesity and being overweight that can land you in the hospital with COVID. Maybe if you lose a little weight, it'll reduce the likelihood of you wind up getting sick from COVID. How much have we talked about that?
Listen, and it's true. It's just one of those little factors. If you've ever sat next to somebody that's, morbidly obese and listen to them breathe, it sounds like they're snoring when they're awake half the time. It's the labored breathing because of all the pressure and the fats and everything pressing on the diaphragm, pressing on the lungs itself. So it makes already breathing a labored task. Well, now give them a virus that causes even more intensity in a labored task. And guess what happens? It's just as bad as having asthma or some other lung disorder, cystic fibrosis or something along those lines, because it takes away the efficiency of your lungs to do their job.
Well, and what's funny is, Mike, you know that. And now, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting you are a medical professional.
I am a licensed medical professional in the Philippines. Yes.
In the Philippines. Licensed by who again?
The Sweetwater Institute of Leg Shaving and Sensitivity Salon. I'm a physician's assistant. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So he's a licensed medical professional.
Yes. Yes.
Right. But I'm not. True. And I didn't even sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. And even I know this. How do the medical professionals over at CNN not know this? And how are they just now tweeting this out? How is this just now news that they're reporting on?
Well, Fauci evidently just told them. I mean, because that's what evidently the only source for medical information approved is through the Fauci system. Yeah,
exactly.
It's got to come through FauciNetwork.com or whatever,
FauciNetwork.com.
Yeah, the fakey news. Dr.
Fakey news. There you go. That's what we call him, Dr. Fakey. I hope we don't get banned for calling him Dr. Fakey because he is a fake. Okay, moving right along, talking about fakes. All right. Do you guys remember a guy named Dan Rather? Yeah, Dan Rather, the reporter, the disgraced anchor who actually was, he was found, basically he was caught with doctored documents, basically trying to make President Bush look bad. He's trying to undermine the presidency of George W. Bush. Him and his producer faked some documents, right? Faked documents, and then he got caught, and so he wound up getting kicked off the air. He decided that he was going to have a take on Let's Go Brandon. and he decided to tweet out that take. Let's see if I can find it here. There it is, right there. His thing was, "You can't handle the truth." That was his tweet. So he says, hashtag Let's Go Brandon really means you can't handle the truth. Now, Mike, do you need to define irony for our audience here?
Listen, Craig, you didn't specify too much here. What it was George Bush's W's, Air National Guard record, training records, his attendance records, that kind of thing. And this was back in the day when news media actually used to do a double source, and it was a double blind source, which meant you'd have to have two independent from each other confirmed sources before you could go with this. And they went with this one piece of paper without confirming it with anybody else except a singular piece of paper from an independent source, which was never heard of before then. It had to be a double blind confirmed source. And he got nailed. He got busted for it. So it was, him and his producer. He tried to say it wasn't him, and then immediately came back upon him. To have this guy now come out and start to tell us what the truth really is just, I mean, he might as well be wearing a hat that says "liar, liar, pants on fire," and we're putting out his pants. It's that bad.
Yeah, once again, it is amazing to me in the number of times I have to deal with people. I deal with people who, in particular in the mainstream media, who claim to know the truth and claim to pontificate upon the truth. And it's amazing some of them, here's the funny part. Some of them you actually share with them the facts. Like, I give you an example. My brother's a lefty. We were debating the other day. He brought up, and I was talking about how we were talking about science and how some people only believe the science that supports their conclusion. And I said a great example.
Right.
That whole comment, the whole statement about climate change is a great example. You have people out there who believe. You have people out there who believe this thing, and it's far from settled science. And my brother came back with, what? 98% of all scientists believe in global warming or global climate change, man-made climate change. And I said, yeah, you do know that number is fake, right? It is a completely fake and made up. Well, I will say completely fake. There's a rationalization behind it that one can drive a Mack truck through.
Yeah.
But it's a made up number, and it's a number and what the worst part is the way people misuse the number. But yeah, same thing here is like, look, Dan Rather, we realize that you are a liar, right? You were not looking for the facts. What you were looking for was facts that supported, or at least what appeared to be facts that supported your particular perspective. And, why fact check it? Why investigate it? Why look it up and find out if it's real or not when it supports what it is that you want to say?
Yeah, listen, I know for a fact, I got it over here on the other monitor, that 4 out of 5 dentists surveyed said that Dan Rather is a big fat liar. So
exactly. I also know for a fact that 70% of statistics that are quoted on the internet or on blogs or on, YouTube channels are false.
I did see an interesting CNN number today, though, that and actually I was a little amazed by it. I'm going to have to go check the numbers out. They said that 75% of the people make up 3/4 of the population. So I'm going to actually have to check that one. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
That actually sounds like it could be true.
I know. There's got to be something wrong with it.
There you go. That's one that might actually work out for them.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we all know that the anti-gun community believes that once you ban a firearm, it will be gone, that the people will fall in line and comply. And a great example is what is taking place currently in Canada. As we know, in 2020, there were a number of firearms, in particular, what they considered to be assault weapons, center fire, semi-automatic rifles with detachable magazines were banned in Canada, I believe. I believe though that includes all. But in any case, as it turns out, they're turning them in mass numbers there in Canada. Oh no, wait, that's not what's happening. Hardly any Canadians have turned in they're now outlawed firearms to the government. In fact, since May of 2020, Canadians have turned in a grand total of 160 of these firearms to the government. And now there's an estimation, excuse me, that there are somewhere between 90,000 and 105,000 of these firearms in Canada. Mikey, what do you make of the mass non-compliance taking place in Canada? And well, Mikey has frozen up on us again. He's dealing with them internet connections. I'm telling you, they just don't want you to hear from Mikey. They don't want you to hear what Mike has to say. But you know what? We are going to make sure that you have the opportunity, or at least do the best we can to make sure you have the opportunity to hear what Mike has to say. Because, well, Mike's hilarious. But anyway, I mean, folks, here's the thing. People will comply with laws that they believe are reasonable. People will, even to a certain degree, comply with laws that they believe are somewhat unreasonable, as long as they don't believe that they are overly unreasonable. But when you have what is basically a mass decision to not comply, that's what this is. This is a large group of people who've decided we are not going to comply at all whatsoever with the law. Right? We are not going to turn in our firearms. And and by the way, this is information. This is information that comes from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So this is not like information that came out of nowhere, right? This is not information that came from an outside source. All right, hey Mikey, if you're watching, I'm gonna go ahead and start a new session, and I'm gonna send you a new link, and let's see if we can get you plugged in here, buddy. Okay. But I don't understand why people don't. First of all, I understand why people keep putting these people in office. You put people in office who do things, who pass laws that you are not going to comply with, that you say basically you're not going to comply with, and yet you continue to put them in office. See, if they think that if people in elective office, if people who you send to the government to represent you, to lead you, if they think that they can just pass laws and you're not, and that you disagree with, and you're not going to do anything about it, they're going to continue to pass those laws. We keep, and I say this all the time, the biggest challenge we have in the Second Amendment community is we keep sending people who are anti-Second Amendment to government to represent us, and then we start begging them, asking them, could you please not violate our rights? Could you please honor our Second Amendment rights? And then we're surprised when they don't. Right? How can you be surprised when they don't, when you knew they weren't in the first place? How much easier would it be? How much easier would it be to have someone in office who actually respected the Second Amendment, who actually believed in what it is that we stand for? You know, it's a lot easier to get good men to do good things, or good women to do good things, than to put in place an evil man or an evil woman and then ask them to do good things. You're setting yourself up for failure if you do that. So how about you take a little time, find out where these folks stand on the Second Amendment, and basically go from there. Okay. It looks like we got a Mikey back. All right, so Mikey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, and I can hear you too. Okay. So, Mike, we're talking about Canadians not turning in their firearms. We're talking about the mass exodus, or the mass non-compliance of Canadians not turning in their firearms.
Yes.
What do
That's
you?
great, right? Isn't
Oh,
that wonderful?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I was just saying that. Why do we keep sending people to office who do things that we know we don't want them to do? Right? We send anti-gun people to represent us, and then ask them to do pro-gun things. How stupid is that?
It was very stupid, obviously. Continue to do it, but it makes us feel good, right? It makes the anti-gunners feel good. If they vote for the anti-gunners, then they'll feel good, like they did something. That way, they don't have to go out and actually, talk to somebody, or maybe learn a thing or two about actual gun control. They'll the words of the gun control advocates that are out there doing it, and that they happen to side with.
Exactamundo. Okay, moving right along, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get to our parting shot. Now, I'm hoping, Mike, that this doesn't get us banned again as COVID misinformation. So those of you who are watching from YouTube or Facebook, this is a joke. Whoop, whoop, whoop. This is a joke. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's the signal. So they know. But we figured we wanted to share an expanded list of symptoms of Omicron in the hopes of helping you guys better beware of, if you might have Omicron. You want to read some of these for us, sir? Can you see them?
Let's do it here. Mild hunger between meals. Mild hunger between meals. That's a sign, Craig.
Uh-oh.
Feeling cold outside into winter when not wearing a coat.
Uh-oh.
So you may get the chills or feel cold when you're outside in the winter, Craig.
I'm starting to think I got the Omicron.
Tiredness at night. Tiredness at night. Yeah.
I had Omicron before there was Omicron.
Probably did. So did you have any tiredness at night? You did? How about any thirst after long periods of not drinking?
Yeah, that happens. That does tend to happen.
Right. How about the acid reflux after 3-alarm chili?
I rarely eat 3-alarm chili, so I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that one.
You'll have to try it. That's the new COVID Omicron test, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Any difficulty looking directly at the sun? Have you had any problems with that?
Wow.
I'm not sure in California you could see the sun with the smog, but if you could, it would be difficult.
Exactly. So does that mean that we're protected from the smog? I mean, from Omicron by the smog?
A little bit. Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. Sweating while exercising. Sweating while exercising.
That tends to happen every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Yeah.
That does tend to happen every once in a while.
Dizziness while hanging upside down. Any of that going on there?
I never hang upside down.
Inability to see in the dark.
So if you see the dark in the dark, does that count?
Not if you see the dark. You would have to see something beyond the dark in the dark.
Okay, got it. All right.
And then finally, if water feels wet on your skin.
Matt, dude, I think I got the Rona.
I have almost all the symptoms. Omarona.
I got the Rona. I got the Omicron Rona. I just based on those symptoms.
Right. You got it. You got the Omarona.
The Omarona. The Flovid Omarona.
That's the Flovid over Roma.
Yeah, weird stuff, man. Anyway, but folks, here's the thing, and this is the thing. Omicron tends to be more mild. It doesn't mean that you can't die from it, but guess what? You can die from the common cold. All right?
Right.
You can die from the common cold. If you feel those symptoms, here's what you do. Take care of yourself. Right?
That's right. That's right. Do it.
How about take care of yourself before you get those symptoms? How about some exercise? Put down those Twinkies.
You don't want to wait until you're on a ventilator.
Ventilator. No, you do not. No, you do not. All right, Mike, how about a shout out to our sponsors?
Hey, our good friends at Gorilla Machining, Grid Defense, and of course, the California Republican Assembly. Please support them because they support us, supporting you, supporting them, supporting us.
Exactamundo. And folks, we got a good time coming up. You guys know the hunting outdoor trade show is going to be coming up in Las Vegas from January 18th to the 21st. We're going to be out there. We're going to be doing some interviews. We're going to be doing the show from out there. Folks, it's a lot of fun. If you guys get a chance, please come on out. And then, by the way, the 17th, the night of the 17th, January 17th, at where's it going to be at again, Mike?
That will be at the Hofbrau House. There you go.
Say hello. We're going to have a good time, food, drinks. It's going to be a good time, and a good time will be had by all. We invite you guys to come on out and well, hang out with us. Have a good time.
There you go. Come do it.
All right. Now, and in closing, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let folks know about the Rundown, the place to get 2A news and conservative views. By the way, just so you know, if you just want to listen to us, you can also do it on wherever you get your iPod, wherever you get your podcast. You can get it on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, Google iPods, wherever, Google Podcasts, wherever it is. Check it out, download us, listen to us, and encourage your friends once again to do the same. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.